Hello friends, and welcome back to Dishonored 2, You Only Live Once. In the last episode, we neutralized Brianna Ashworth by stripping her of her void powers, thus also knocking out and depowering all of the witches she deputized. This is why you always want to manage your permissions through groups instead of on a per-user basis. But anyway, this isn't a tutorial on Active Directory best practices, and we've got a mission to do. From what we've learned, Ashworth helped bring back Delilah 3 years ago, doing something strange and probably void adjacent at the home of a man named Aramis Stilton. Megan's gone ahead to scout out the streets, but Sokolov is here to be our chauffeur for the day.
I'll get you as close as I can.
I didn't know Aramis Stilton. Who was he?
Loyal to the old Duke. Stilton helped build modern Karnaca with those silver mines. Worked his way up from nothing to a fortified mansion. In any case, you'll have to pass through the Dust District. Maybe Stilton's still in there, or maybe he's dead. Find Megan once you reach the Dust District. She'll tell you more. I'll wait here with this skiff and take you back to the dreadful whale after you finish.
Alright, fair enough. Let's start out with a little bit of looting. Some whalebone and some replacement bolts here. And we're clear to sprint for a little bit, but as soon as we get outside, we want to take it a little bit easy.
Transfer. I've got to get over to one of the other districts.
Alright, while they're talking, let's blink over here. Again, we want to be a little stealthy here because there's a couple of guards up here on the roof who will hear.
How did I get stuck out here?
One of them is going to pace back and forth over here,
Out of my ears.
waiting for him to turn around.
Grand Palace.
Perfect.
That's a sign. All apples and slippers.
Now, it seems like this guy ought to see us, but he really won't. Let's wait for him to path back there.
In my sleep.
And now we can take out this guy.
Dust storm coming.
And that storm is the perfect opportunity to take out this guy. Now we get up here on the railing in plain sight. Ready to make some noise as soon as the dust storm drops. Alright.
What the hell was that? Damn! You burn away!
By taking out that officer first, we ensured that nobody will have any ranged attacks, so that was safe to do. And it looks like the one guy has not found us yet. He rushes up to... what is it? Wow. Unobservant. Absolutely. Come on, buddy. Come on. It really should not be that hard to bait you over here. There we go. Cooperated, finally. I believe there are some bullets up here on the roof. Grab those. Top off my mana as well. Yeah, there they are. Now, almost missing that rune in that last mission makes me remember that I should use the heart more often. There is a rune in here, and it confounds some people, but it's really not that hard to get. I'll show you in a minute. For now, let's hop up here, hop off our mana, talk to Megan.
Stilton's home is just beyond here, but getting inside will take some effort. I've been doing reconnaissance. talking to people. The Overseers and the Howlers have divided up the district. Just ahead is neutral territory where no one will harass you. But further on, the Howlers and the Overseers both have boundaries set up. And beyond those points, they'll attack you on sight.
Aramis Stilton is the real goal. Sokolov said you'd worked out a plan.
Yes. I believe that if you take out Paolo or Vice Overseer Byrne, the other one will grant you safe passage, and will help you get inside Stilton's home. Neutralize either one of them, and bring him to the other.
Now that, of course, is the briefing that everyone gets. There's an additional bit of dialogue that's available if you examine this silver graph.
The Howlers and the Overseers have been dicking each other over territory for a while. The whole district is holding its breath.
Let the Grand Guard worry about it. It's not our priority.
The Grand Guard's just another gang. People trust the Abbey or the Howlers more than Dunwall Tower. And whoever wins in the Dust District is going to inherit the city.
Even if the Duke falls, no one's going to respect the Howlers enough to let them rule.
You of all people should know better.
Indeed. Now, as for what faction to side with, they're presenting this as a moral dilemma, and perhaps it is for some players. For me, this is not a difficult call. First, let's grab this rune. As I said, it's quite easy to get to. Now, this is fundamentally a turf war between two groups of organized thugs, religious zealots and a puffed-up street gang. They both suck out loud, and I don't want either of them left in charge. We need to find another way, so let's go take a look at this so-called Jindosh lock.
Shut up tight like this. But what do you think? Can you crack it? Give me a minute. Durante knows how to get in here. Paolo had him feeding old Stilton or watching him. I was gonna pay him off for the secret, but Durante got beat down by the Overseers and taken away.
I don't even understand what this is. I don't see any seams. It's a lock designed by a man who creates machines that kill people. You can keep your money, I'm not touching it.
So let's back up and look at the goal. We need to get into Aramis Stilton's mansion, and the only way is through the Jindosh lock. We can't break it or pick it, so we need to either solve the Jindosh Riddle ourselves, or get the code from someone else. Now, the obvious easy solution is to side with either the Overseers or the Howlers to get what we need, but letting that conversation play out hinted at a third option, to investigate a Howler named Durante, who was captured by the Overseers and supposedly had the code. We'll be doing that anyway in order to help bring down both gang leaders, but there's actually a fourth option, solving it ourselves. And to do that, we need to match up this list of family names with this list of heirlooms, based on the clues provided in the Jindosh Riddle. Things like what color the clothes they wore, what drink they had. The Jindosh Riddle is essentially Einstein's puzzle, with all the names swapped out for Dishonored flavored versions, and a bit of narrative wrapped around it to make it a story puzzle. Solving it ourselves is a special action, but there's no need to go setting up a logic grid to find the solution, unless that's the sort of thing you enjoy, in which case shine on. But due to the way the story part of the puzzle is structured, there's an easy shortcut that you can do in seconds. The family names, heirlooms, and other attributes are randomized each playthrough, but because the story is a linear narrative, their order is the same every time. So we know, for example, that the first family mentioned in the riddle, which in this playthrough is Conti, will always be paired with the third heirloom mentioned, in this case the diamond. Whatever the second family is goes with the fourth heirloom, the third family the second heirloom, and the fourth family the first. The last family mentioned is paired with the only heirloom that wasn't. That might be confusing, and different people learn in different ways, so if spatial relationships are easier for you, here's an easy trick. To start, take the first 4 family names and set them in the lock in that order. You only really need to remember the first 4, just set the last one to whichever name is left over. So in our case, we have Conti, Winslow, Finch, Marcalla. Next, find the third heirloom. Text tends to shuffle around with the names being different lengths, but the third heirloom will always be on the far right side of the second line in this big paragraph. There are 3 heirlooms clustered together here in a flat triangle. Matched up with the names, the order of the heirlooms is 3, 4, 2, 1. So working visually, go down left, up right, then a little further up left, near the bottom of the previous paragraph. So, diamond, war medal, snuff tin, ring, and then you should be able to just spin the last heirloom dial until the lock clicks.
Got it. Now to find Aramis Stilton.
We could do that right now, but we won't. For one thing, notice that although I now have the option to enter Stilton's manor, the options to take out the leaders or investigate Durante are both still active. We don't want either group left in charge, so we've still got work to do. But just as importantly, the rules of the YOLO run, not to mention my sense of completionism, require that we take out all the enemies and get all the collectibles. The door has been opened for us, but we can't walk through it yet. One thing I really respect about Arcane's developers is that they will essentially allow you to skip an entire mission if you're willing to solve this puzzle. An entire mission that they worked hard to create, an entire mission full of lore, loot, and upgrades. And you can skip it all if you want to. As you've seen, there's certainly no shortage of loot in Dishonored 2. From what I understand, there was quite a lot of debate on the dev team about this decision, but in the end, I think they made the right call. When in doubt, I believe you should almost always err on the side of player choice and options. Everyone enjoys different things, and one of the things that makes Arcane games so great is that they give each player the freedom to have the experience they want. They give you a sandbox and let you play in it the way you like, and enabling player choice is something more developers should do more often. But anyway, I'm soapboxing a bit while I pick up some stray loot, so let's get my focus back on the mission. There is a nest keeper in here we need to put to sleep. And right about now, his friend should be coming around the corner. Yep. Both of them taken care of. Let's take care of the nest as well. And wait for the blood flies to calm down. Grab some coins. Oh, let's see. Did we get our sleep dart back? We did. Excellent. And what about from you? Nope. That's fine. Let's take out these last two nests. Another pile of blood flies I don't care to deal with. Except apparently that didn't do the trick. Interesting. Okay, well, whatever. They can just have fun in there. Oh, it's not fake. It's blood amber. Don't need that, but remember it's there. And we'll get one of our sleep darts back. Remember, there's another one left. Now let's head into the Crone's Hand Saloon. Sleep dart this guy. He will do a really magical thing. Oop, wrong key, sorry. I don't know why, but he always does that little physics flip whenever I sleep dart him. Stay quiet for the moment, because if we run around, there are people downstairs who will hear it. However, once we reach this point, it's safe to walk.
This must be Paolo's place.
Yes, you can tell by the giant painting he's got of himself. And as well, this note is talking about when we jumped him earlier. And of course, if we hadn't done that, this note would not have been there or would have said something else.
Veramore. I remember that name.
Indeed. But the outsider remembers her too, though he doesn't have a whole lot to say about her other than this.
He put up this shrine because he found the hand of an old witch I knew once. And Paolo saw right away that it pays to have an edge. Sometimes, pieces of us linger long after we're gone.
And in exchange for listening to his monologue, the outsider has gifted us with 2 runes, and those are absolutely key. Now you might have noticed that I save up a lot of runes and don't buy powers often. There are a few reasons for that. For one, I find that I only tend to use a small subset of powers even when I buy others, but more to the point, not buying powers can actually be a benefit when it comes to bone charms if you use them heavily. For those who don't know, all bone charms are randomized each playthrough, so the ones I found aren't the ones you'll find, or even the ones I'll find the next time I start a new game. But to increase the chances of the player getting a bone charm that is useful to them, the pool of possible effects doesn't include bone charms that are tied to powers the player does not currently have. So for example, as Corvo, you won't get bone charms related to Shadow Walk outside New Game Plus, and Emily can't get Possession. But because we haven't bought that power, neither will we. Likewise, our random pool doesn't currently include charms for, say, Rat Swarm, or Dark Vision, and so on. The upshot of this is that with no powers other than blank, we're vastly more likely to get charms that aren't tied to specific powers. Charms for movement, mana recovery, or tool enhancements, all of which are generally the sort of charms I'd much rather have. So while we've had some incredible luck with the bone charms we've found on this run, I've been stacking the odds of getting them by putting off buying any new powers as long as possible. I'd been hoping for at least one charm to increase movement speed, but really, between Witch's Skin, Spirit Water, and Lucky Needle, I have nothing to complain about. And that said, the time has come to buy some major upgrades. And I would just mention movement speed, so it's long past time to spend 2 runes to get the sprint enhancement. It's going to help us a lot, especially in this mission and the next. More importantly, I am spending 4 runes on rune crafting. And given that it requires a total investment of 12 runes, this is generally not worth getting. However, if you already have bone charm crafting maxed, and you have at least 36 raw whalebone to craft the 4 runes right back, it's basically free. As you can see, we only have enough to craft 2 runes due to all the charm crafting we've done. We've also been picking up a lot of less useful charms we don't need. So let's sacrifice all of those and see what that gets us. I'll keep Leviathan's Breath because there's a place later where it can be useful, and if my math is right, that should leave just enough for what I want. Perfect, that's just enough to craft 6 runes, which is what I was hoping for, so let's immediately put those to use. With 14 runes total, we have enough to buy and max out Stop Time. There are other upgrades we'll be getting soon enough, but this one is huge. For those who've never used it, Stop Time is brokenly powerful. It's an all-purpose oh shit button to get out of tough spots, and when you combine it with the near infinite supply of mana granted by Spirit Water, let's just say that I've got good reasons to feel even better about this run's chances of success. For now, let's turn our attention back to dealing with this district's problems. As I said, I'm not really keen on putting either the Howlers or the Abbey in charge of Karnaca. However, I see nothing wrong with pretending to help one or both of these groups in order to more easily facilitate screwing them both over. Got some valuables in here to grab. There's a couple of Howlers out here. One is napping, and we want to make sure she stays that way. The other goes back and forth between standing around here and smoking a cigarette around the corner. He's in the middle of his smoke right now. And I don't want to go too far forward so I don't trigger a conversation just yet. But I'll hop up here and wait for this guy to come around the corner. Should only take a sec. Come on, buddy, finish your smoke. I do love the music in Dishonored. Excellent. Alright, good night to him. Grab a blueprint out of here. And now we can move forward.
Kept the Grand Guard out of our homes, but I don't see how you can help the miners.
Obviously, we could sleep dart this guy in here, but now that we have Stop Time, it is trivially easy to do that. And all it costs is mana that we get right back. Another blueprint, some whalebone. I have not used the Adamar solution yet, but I'll take that sleep dart back. Healthy appetite. That is literally useless to me. As in, I cannot use it. That's alright. It is raw whalebone. Open that path for later while we wait for Paolo to finish his conversation. Any minute here, Paolo is going to finish his conversation and is going to come strolling down these stairs and go right through that door. And we'll hear him muttering to himself just before he opens the door. Okay, hear his footsteps. Yep, there he is. Okay. Now, of course, as soon as we choke him out, he is going to turn into a swarm of rats, because that's what he does. But that power does not trigger until time is unstopped. And we got plenty of time to get out of there. Make sure that that guy doesn't become an issue. Now we can just have a nice leisurely stroll upstairs. We don't have to worry about Paolo because he resurrects next to the Outsider Shrine. As you might remember, we left a little surprise for him. Unfortunately, he's got a little surprise for us as well.
What?
Along with several bone charms that we don't need and will happily break down.
Paolo had Granny Rag's hand.
Indeed. And you might remember from the first game that Granny Rags had that whole rat swarm ability. That was kind of her thing. Now, interestingly, if you're playing Emily, you get an entirely different line, because of course Emily never dealt with Granny Rags and did not know what her deal was. Right. Now we are fully replenished. Let's grab Paolo's body and get the heck out of here. Now there's some blood flies up ahead, so for the moment I want to set him down. Deal with this trap. They will most certainly kill him if I set the body down too close. There's a couple Howlers here, but fortunately they're facing away from us. And she is entirely concerned with the Overseers and will not hear us sneak around behind her. And did we get our sleep dart from you? No, that's fine. I've seen bloodflies kill enemies that you were carrying before, so I'd just as soon not take that chance. And now let's head up here towards Overseer territory, and we're just waiting for them to acknowledge. There it is. They've acknowledged that we took out Paolo. They are now our friends. They will aggro if we do any witchcraft in front of them, but we don't need that to get up here. This is Mindy's apartment, and she's probably got some nice things for us. Oh. Spirited, that's nice. Yes. Yes, she does indeed have nice things for us. Spirited, that's going to increase the amount of mana given back by elixirs, which is fantastic because as 4x, that will pretty much replenish your entire mana pool with one elixir. I'm not going to 4x that yet because we're about to go into a mission where we cannot use our mana, but afterwards, absolutely.
It's easy to blame the Duke, but we both depend on the profits from industry. The mines are the lifeblood of this city. The Duke could have continued.
These two are incredibly oblivious, and they seem to lose that obliviousness at the oddest moments that don't seem connected. Yeah, see, there they are. They have just, they've just taken notice of our presence, so hit stop timer really quick and put them both to sleep so that they don't create a fuss. And since we're right by a free elixir and we've got so many in the map that we haven't picked up yet, let's use one and then hit the heck out of here. There's one valuable here, but all you need to do is break it from this side and then access it from the other one. It rolls down. Now, the Howlers are, as of yet, entirely unaware of what we have done to their leader. I'd just as soon keep it that way. So I'm going to quietly sneak my way out of their territory and back into the neutral area. I think there's a storm that's scripted to trigger right about here. Yeah, they hear it now. That's fine.
Oh, hello. At first I thought you were one of Paolo's gang, but you don't look so bad up close.
My good dude, you are not a very good judge of people. That's right. We'll just leave him right there so he doesn't cause a fuss, and proceed with taking all of his stuff.
for a good job.
There's only two things we need to do here at the moment. First, I want to make sure that that overseer moves out of the way. He's acknowledged that we are a friend. And second, there are some Howlers in here who are harassing the black market dealer. And she will not care at all if we take them down. Let's get them out of sight. Because other people will care if the black market door opens. They happen to see bodies in here.
At this rate.
Happen, they say. Not safe, they say. That ain't never safe for the life.
Just make sure this guy's completely out of sight. There we go. Okay. Let's head into the back alley. There's a barred door here. It's very easy to take care of. So a single bolt will do it. Now, as for these overseers, normally you would have to sneak out around them, get up there, and take your time, but because we took out Powell and they have acknowledged this, they are now our friends.
Seems like a good way to take a dart to the belly.
Well, the Howlers aren't known for their caution, but these aren't too hard to deal with. If you've got a steady hand and you know what cables to cut, you've got to do it just right.
I wanted to wait until their conversation was over before I did that, because sometimes if one guy is talking and the other guy goes down, the one who's still awake will notice. Like, they'll notice if their conversation's interrupted. But fortunately, we were able to deal with that without causing any problems. Now, there's a scripted event that's about to occur over here. I want to make sure that it does not start until I'm ready to interrupt it. Some overseers who are going to be executing some poor people, we're of course not going to let that happen. But as soon as we interrupt the execution, some overseers are going to magically spawn in down here. And well, you know how I deal with that.
By sworn and faithful overseers in good standing. No trial is required. For theft of food.
I don't think so. And there goes the stun mine.
What's going on here?
Okay, good. Now the guy by the door is going to come investigate. And he should knock himself out as well. Let's make sure he's out of sight of anyone who might get upset about it. And that's all this taken care of. Those civilians have run off somewhere relatively safe. There's a secret over here that I've seen a lot of people miss, and it's understandable. I missed it for a long time. It's kind of out of the way. And to be honest, there's not a lot here. Just some whalebone, a coin of 5, and a note from someone who had very good reason to be afraid of the overseers taking over this area. Hopefully he got out okay. And again, normally we would have to sneak through here using the upper levels of those scaffolding and everything. But no, the overseers, they are our friends for the moment. Or if not our friends, at least they tolerate our presence. Now they will get upset if they see us place a stun mine or do anything else hostile. You have to be careful there. And overseers do consider black magic to be hostile, so we can't use our powers in their sight. It's alright. Now, the hitbox for choking out someone who's napping can be tricky, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now, as I choke this guy, I'm going to pull him forward a little bit, because what I actually want now is for someone down there to notice a body and come in to investigate, thus knocking themselves out on the stun mines. We don't have to worry about walking or running since we're technically not their enemies at the moment. That's just a note letting you know about this contraband closet here. We got the key from one of the guys in the nap room. That gives us a rune and some silver ingots. And once again, there's a conversation we want to let play out.
She was quick.
While we're waiting for that, we'll just do some looting. Of course, normally we'd have to be careful about our footsteps because of that guy.
Another way, but it's a gut has been.
We want to take him out anyway, so while that other guy in the room is preoccupied with his dying friend, we will take care of the sentry.
I've seen better this than a day or two of agony.
Then I go, and I keep the strictures close to my heart. May there be no discord in my spirit.
Okay, that's what I was watching for. There's a moment there where you can see where the live Overseer's body is swapped out for a corpse. See the animation flicker just briefly, and at that point it is safe to take this guy out. Before then, the guy there will live. You're not responsible for his buddy giving him the coup de grace, so to speak. That is not your death. Alright, let's move quickly because things are going to happen now.
Stilton.
As soon as we come up here, this guy's going to come walking out, and he should be in just the right spot for him to go down to a drop assassination, or drop takedown, rather. But we don't need to do anything with his body because no one is going to come out here we have to worry about. That audiograph that's playing is just one more piece of evidence of what a decent guy this Aramis Stilton was actually supposed to be. Kind of wonder why he was involved with Delilah. We'll get to that.
Bring me proof that you've beaten Paolo, that you've succeeded where my men have failed.
He wants us to bring Paolo's body, but that's not going to happen. And since we've now knocked out both of the leaders, you'll see the quest has updated. We no longer have the option to deliver one to the other. Now, we could, of course, enter the manor anyway, but it's still telling us to investigate this Durante, who is now the only source of the solution to the lock. He's also the solution for the alternative non-lethal that we're going to do for both of the leaders. Now, that's interesting. I just saw that bone charm flow by as I was talking. Relocation sickness. That is useful. That is actually quite useful. It's not worth using most of the time, but later on it will cause witches to stumble and fall very frequently. And they do that near a ledge, well, they're dead and you're not responsible for it. I want to take out the dogs so that they don't waste stun mine charges. Alright. Now the Overseers are going to be a little bit perturbed, and they might aggro us if they see us, but that's fine. It sounds like they found the stun mine. Good. Might not need to do a whole lot else. There they go. That's what we wanted to see. Some loot there. I think there might still be one more out here. Yeah, there he is.
You can't stay hidden forever.
Oh, okay. I thought he was aggroing me, but that's just one of his searching lines. Might just take this guy out the normal way. If he's the only one left, I can just drop on him. Or, you know, use the tools at my disposal. There we go. Problem solved. Now let's just move the bodies over to safety because there's a swarm of rats over there that do sometimes come out and eat bodies that you leave lying around. And if that happens, then you are most certainly responsible for that death. But okay, I think that's all the overseers. How am I doing on potions? I'm full. Good. I'm full in bullets as well. Good. Now there's one more thing we want to do in here, and that's take a look at a secret, another one that a lot of people miss. We go into this alley and bust through this window, we will find Corvo Attano's abandoned home. There's not a lot in here. Behind these loose bricks, you'll find some whalebone and a trophy.
The trophy I got for the blade verbena. I left it with my mother.
And speaking of Corvo's mother, if we just go over here into the bedroom, we will find the diary of Paloma Attano. There's not a lot in here, just his mother talking about how much she misses him after he went away to Dunwall.
It's been over 30 years. So much has happened since I left.
Indeed, Corvo, indeed. That's one of the special actions that we wanted to make sure we took care of. And with all that done, it's time to go get Burns' body and see what we can do with it. Still got Paulo's stashed over here by the Silvergraph studio, and that's fine. With Burn, what we're going to do is take him just far enough into Howler territory for them to acknowledge that we got him. Hello?
Good riddance.
There we go. Okay. They hadn't aggroed us, so I figured that was the case, but I just wanted to make sure to wait for the official acknowledgement. However, now, even though the Howlers are friends, there's one person in their yard who, for whatever reason, will panic every time she sees you. Not sure why, but it means that you can't safely just walk in the front door.
So sleepy. I've got to get to bed earlier. Not too much.
And now that we're past her, we're fine. Put that there as an insurance policy. And let's get our mana back. And you might recall there used to be a whole bunch of people out here. Some musicians, some folks dancing. Those despawn when you bring Burns' body here. So each one of the leaders' abodes has a state that it is in when you don't have the body, and a state that it is in when you bring the opposing leader's body. Because we've brought Burns' body, everyone in this yard is gone, and Paolo's supposed to be down there at the bar, serving drinks alone so that you can talk to him. Amazing she didn't freak out at him. I thought I moved him. Hi, Mindy.
I knew I was right about you. Mindy ain't no fool. I can smell a winner.
They say hard days make strange friends.
If we had more time, I'd put my tattoo and needles on your ass. Leave you with some wicked ink.
What's one more black mark? But I'm short on time.
Next time, maybe.
There won't be a next time. Because you are a Howler.
You helped me with the
and Howlers are enemies.
We could use somebody like you.
All right. And with that done, this inside area should be clear. And if you didn't already know, this note is just telling you about how the Overseer is Nick Durante, and they've got his office key, which is the only way in here, etc., etc. And there's the code that we no longer need. And finally, the hint as to what we're going to do with these 2 leaders. Oh my goodness. Along with, most importantly apparently, an incredible bone charm. You know how I was talking about movement bone charms earlier and how we weren't getting any of them? Well, we just picked up one of the best. Swift Shadow. Movement is slightly faster in stealth mode. So much yes. I'm going to sacrifice that and immediately craft it. Now, the question is, what am I going to unequip for it? Let's see. Witch's Skin is staying. Lightweight, maybe. Leap Darts, no. Minor Regeneration, slightly faster. Area effect for stun mines. I think at this time, I'm going to swap out Lightweight, actually. Because all that does is mitigate falling damage, and we're not going to be doing anything that puts us at risk of that for quite some time. Oh, look at that. Our stealth speed is now arguably as fast or even a little faster than our walking speed. And those all stack, so for example, if you get Undertaker, which makes you move faster while carrying a body, you will move at warp speed when sneaking and carrying a body. And similarly for, I think, what is it, Swift Stalker that does the same thing when your weapons are sheathed? Yeah. Okay, well, now that we've got everything we needed in here, it's time to take care of the Howlers outside. How do we want to do this? Got that stun mine as backstop, but I'd be happy to just pick it up if I can. So, alright. So that woman is going to freak out if she sees us, but I think these guys are in a great position to just choke them all out with stop time. Especially since Void Favor procced and we did not use up any mana for that one.
The big hero.
And I should be able to, actually, since Void Favor procced again, this guy's behind cover. This is the play. I don't think that's enough time to get the third person. There we go. And we got her sleep dart back. Excellent. Let's get her away from the blood flies that are in there. And no stun mine was necessary. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is all enemies on the map. I'm just going to do a quick sweep to make sure. I think I got everything in here, didn't I? Yeah, I got the sleep dart and the elixir from there. And, oh yeah, just forgot. Some coins over here in the cash register. This is where Powell would have been standing if we had brought the body to him. That. I got those in there. I might as well recoup my mana. I think, yeah, there's a couple crossbow bolts on here. I'll take those. Other than that, I think just about everything else in here is food. Food and other things that I can't have. Nothing in here. And I've already cleared Paula's floor. Yep, we're good to go. Nothing in here, right? No, it's not. And I got all of the pouches from the Howlers. I got that guy in the store. And the only bone charm that's left is the one in the black market shop. Now, we've already busted down the bar to the door, so let's head upstairs.
What's running around over there?
That grants us access to this previously closed-off apartment. And in here, there is a gentleman napping, and he will absolutely not care about us moving around in here. But we don't need to worry about him. There's a hint that we don't actually need, but if you don't know, this wedding silvergraph note here is telling you that they were wed in the month of rain. And that's the clue to go look on the calendar. Now, I believe it is always the month of rain. I've never seen it not be. It's possible that it's randomized, but I think it's always the month of rain. So that's the 4th month, and in this playthrough, the date they were wed was the 21st, so that's 421. Almost a very good number. Okay. Now this is going to count as a black market robbery, but I don't want to actually freak her out. So I'm going to hit stop time and completely get turned around. That's good. But I got it. Tricky timing. That's not particularly useful, no. Okay. Where did I leave elixirs? You know what? I'm not that worried about it. I have so much money.
You wouldn't know anything about that shop that got hit, would you?
The one behind you?
But you
Not at all.
The person who helped out one of ours in the conservatory district. Special discount for you then.
That juxtaposition always amuses me because she's immediately going to remark upon the black market robbery if one has occurred in your playthrough, but then she acknowledges the fact that you helped them. It's kind of hilarious if you just robbed her. Anyway.
See. I have some upgrade plans for your gear.
And I think the only one I particularly want to get is the one that lets me buy sticky mines. I'd like to stock up on those. And we'll get some sleep darts and stun mines. And top off our elixirs, and we're still left with plenty of money. New crossbow bolts wouldn't hurt. And there's a map of Airman Stilton's home that you can get, but we do not need it. You can get one in there, and it's really not all that much help. And with all that done, we have one last piece of unfinished business in this district, and that's its leaders. You might recall, we left both Powell and Byrne in their own respective heaps, fairly undignified, so let's go pick them up. First, grab Byrne off the floor here. And from Durante's room, we got the key to the Silvergraph studio, which is where we left Paolo.
Theocracy is not what Karnaca needs, Byrne. I hope 5 years away gives you time to think, while the city rebuilds itself without your little war.
Apparently the mining company had a couple of Paolo's guys, and the Howlers cooked up this scheme to send a couple of suckers that they were going to kidnap over to the mining company as replacements so that they could get their guys back. Well, I have a different pair of suckers for them, and I have a feeling that Karnaca is going to be a hell of a lot better off, with both Byrne and Paolo spending the next 5 years turning big rocks into little ones. We've left a power vacuum, yes, but not to worry, we'll get around to filling that vacuum with someone much better. And finally, this thing marked Skiff Approaching Dockyard. If you look closely, that's Megan and Corvo there. If I had to guess, that was actually when they were approaching the Karnaca docks in the very first mission. There's Addermire in the distance. I'll take that as a keepsake. We've done everything we came here to do, and there's nothing left but to head into Stilton's mansion. And we've gotten away with no kills, that's always welcome. Not too concerned about the bodies or the detections, because they're not really impacting our chaos level in any meaningful way. And we've gotten all of the collectibles and a little less of the coins than I would have liked, but I'll take it. It's more than 3/4 of them. And finally, for these special actions. The Jindosh lock, of course, we solved that ourselves using a nice trick. We found Corvo's childhood home, And we eliminated both faction leaders in the struggle for the Dust District, so now something else is going to fill that void. And last but not least, we finally got around to robbing a black market, if only for the bone charm within. Sells all of our accounts, so let's move on.
Definitely odd. Something just shifted.
Corvo's not kidding.
This place is cursed, cracked. I can feel the void seeping in.
Look in the upper left, you'll see that our mana bar looks a bit odd.
Stilton's sealed off from the rest of the district.
And if we try to use our powers, we will find that we simply cannot. None of them work at all, and, well, that's a huge problem for us. But it's one that we'll work around, and we'll do so next time. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm excited for this next mission. It's one of my favorites in the game, and I hope you'll enjoy it with me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.